The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
A woman has been arrested after allegedly beating elderly man, telling him to go back to Mexico, according to the Daily Beast. Rodolfo Rodriguez, who's 92, was on his daily walk when LaQuisha Jones allegedly assaulted him with a brick and told him to go back home to Mexico. Her 4-year-old daughter was at her side. LaQuisha is African American. And let's cut to it, right? No need to set this up a pretense. There's something that I've been hinting at and directly addressing, but I need to make it clear. Remember that sketch, Clayton-Bigsby on Dave Chappelle's show, the blind guy who is a black white supremacist? You know, it's an amazing, I guess the most accurate word would be allegory. I'm just like everyone, I want to call it a metaphor, but it's actually an allegory, because of what it actually says and what's so true about a subset of the black community. There is a subset of the black community that in their extreme wokeness, they're actually blind, and they are blind to the reality that they are, in fact, black white supremacists. They have the same structural framework of how the worldview, their worldview is the same as white supremacists. You just swap out the races. You know, they agree on segregation with white supremacists. They agree on so many different layers of hatred for other groups. You can see it most demonstrably with the language and the rhetoric towards immigrants, or people that they think are immigrants. Go back to Mexico, this lady shouted, as she and her friends proceeded to beat this man, 92-year-old man, to a pulp, to the point where I'm surprised, grateful, but surprised that he survived being that age. Clayton-Bigsbys, and they wrap it in this wokeness, this pseudo-intellectual wokeness. Their third eye is open, and now they're so woke to the world that they are in league with Nazis and white supremacists, the people who actually have power in this system, the oppressor of all of us in this system. White supremacy is the power structure of this country, and yet they find themselves perfectly intersecting and perfectly aligning, rather, with white supremacists. And we find this, I'm finding it, and I'm sure you have, more and more and more prevalent in these social media spaces, this new media spaces, so many articles, so many videos, so much commentary, so many Facebook posts of people who, in their pursuit for attention, because God forbid another group has a moment of attention on the national stage, because, you know, we can't have a moment where the narrative isn't about how do we fix things and get the boot of the oppressor off the necks of black people expressly. Never mind the fact that fighting against the system that is oppressing these immigrants is the same as fighting against the system that is tearing us apart. Never mind that. They find it somehow to be more intellectual, more woke, and more black to espouse ideas that perfectly align with white supremacy and, in fact, support white supremacy. These ideas go to undergird and protect white supremacist structures, whereas the rest of us are trying to tear it down wherever we see it, even when we see it attacking women, when we see it attacking the LGBTQ community, when we see it attacking immigrants. We say this is yet another opportunity for us to fight this white Christian male power structure, this white supremacist, male supremacist, Christian supremacist power structure that is at the core of America, that is at the core of what is oppressing black people still to this day. And so any opportunity that we get to fight that system and tear that system down at its roots, or tear it up at its roots, that's an opportunity we need to seize upon. Never mind, not just setting aside the humanity of it, setting aside the morality of it, putting those arguments aside. If you genuinely If you genuinely believe that you're fighting white supremacy, then how can you ever put your weapons down? Not just put those weapons down. The second part of this is that you're underscoring it, that you're undergirding it, that you're lending validity. You're lending black validity to white supremacist arguments. You're giving them the rhetoric that they need to continue your oppression. You are aiding and abetting your own oppressors, and you're doing it in the name of blackness. This is why I allude back to Clayton-Bigsby, the blind black white supremacist. These people are so woke that they have no idea, or they're willingly. I mean, maybe they are willing to be in league with white nationalists. Maybe they have thought this all the way through, and they feel like it's in their best interest to fight for black separatism. And they feel like the best way to get to black separatism is to help white separatism, right? And in that case, then they are all the more our enemy. And they are not our allies. Everyone's skin to me isn't kin to me. They are aiding and abetting the very system that will put a 1-year-old Honduran boy on trial, and for him to be, and that child have to be his own representative, sitting in front of the court without a lawyer, without his parents, a 1-year-old child being put on trial in this system. That is the same system that will pull up on a 12-year-old child, black boy, and shoot him dead. And yet you feel that the thing that's in the best interest of the black community is to say nothing to the system when it's oppressing immigrants or asylum seekers, and then think that somehow that silence or outright complicity with white supremacy against immigrants is going to somehow magically turn into a net benefit for blackness in this country. You know, I guess with some special combination of alchemy, a formula like that works in their brains, because I'm sure they've all read The Alchemist. Shout out to Q. But the point is this, is that in their uber wokeness, they themselves become servants of white supremacy. And I will forever from this day forward refer to them as black white supremacists. And they are just as blind as Clayton-Bigsby, but not as some byproduct of their birth, but as a result of this pseudo-intellectualism, this self-proclaimed wokeness, this pseudo-wokeness that believes that the only liberation that we should be concerned with is the liberation of black men. Black women are even secondary in this world because it is its own version of male supremacy. These are the people that we have to be wary of. And this is the thinking that drives a person like LaQuisha to carry out this barbaric act in the name of go back to your own country. What type of white supremacist nonsense is this that has seeped into the black community? Go back to your country. That is literally the lines coming from a Nazi, from a white supremacist, from a Klansman, being espoused, being spoken by a black woman to an immigrant in a brutal assault that she may very well be charged with attempted murder. This is the ignorance. This is the ignorance of black white supremacists. I've said this 100 times and I will continue to say it. We are not free until we are all free. We're all fighting the same system of white male Christian supremacy in this country that has dominated the reins of power since its inception on the backs of everyone it could possibly place its boots, particularly on the backs of black people in this country, specifically black people. This system has been custom tuned and refined to marginalize black people. But that oppression, that marginalization has gone beyond our borders. And it has been committed by the same oppressor. And so it makes absolutely no sense for a black person who claims to oppose white supremacy to turn around and give white supremacy the very tools that it needs to destroy the black community even further. To co-sign the system, to say nothing, and then to become complicit with the system of our own demise. It makes absolutely no sense. And to do so with the ridiculous straw men of what have immigrants done for us? What have Mexicans done for us? They've done nothing for us. The most ridiculous straw man that I've seen yet is the one that says, where are the sanctuary cities for black people? You know, that type of that ridiculous straw man that has the veneer of intellectualism when in fact it is quite literally some of the dumbest shit that I have ever heard. We honestly have been patient with you, and some of us, I've been patient with you because I don't like to squabble with family. No matter how much I don't like them, I don't squabble with them in public. And I attempt to give a pass or to just be patient, because what good is arguing with you in public? But now it's gotten to the level, to a fever pitch where now you have placed your black white supremacy on full display. And you are giving the white community, the white nationalist community, the Nazi community, the language, the vernacular, the tools to oppress you further. And you're doing it in the name of blackness. That is, that's the kicker. You're doing it in the name of blackness. And you honestly believe that you carry the mantle of a level of blackness that no one else has. You feel like you have the very definition to the word, to the right to claim the word black, and anyone who deviates from your particular worldview is some type of deficient black, when in reality, you are a black white supremacist, because everything that you do at the end of the day, everything that you do supports white supremacy. I don't care how many word salads you put together to try to convince people of your blackness. It is nothing more than a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal in terms of what it is to truly be black. Because to be black in this system is to fight this system like hell at every opportunity that you get, knowing that anyone who is oppressed by the system is being oppressed by the same people who are waiting for the opportunity to oppress you next. It's not about allies. It's not about you. This particular argument that I'm making right now has nothing to do with allyship. It has nothing to do with morality. It has nothing to do with anything else other than your own best interest, your own rational self-interest. And you, in your infinite wokeness, betray your own self-interest by empowering white supremacists and forwarding the agenda of white supremacy, because you feel that your greater enemy is not the white supremacists, but the immigrants that they are oppressing in this season. My goodness. This entire group is nothing more than a bunch of blind Clayton-Bigsbys, black, white supremacists. But their blindness is not a product of their birth. Their blindness is a product of their pseudo-intellectualism, their contortions, the intellectual gymnastics that they put themselves through in order to justify their worldview by any means necessary, no matter the cost. And right now, that cost, the cost of this woke blindness, the cost of this black white supremacy, is complicity with the very people who seek to oppress us even further. Go to patreon.com/the BPD show for more.